Hello. You are listening to the Carroll Connection with your host, Jared Carroll.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Carroll Connection. I'm your host, Jared Carroll, here to bring you guys another great episode. Did want to take a chance to shout out last week's episode 222 with Ashley Crossman. She is a social media digital marketer, and on that episode, she talked about basically some of the stuff she went through in her childhood and progressing into eventually motherhood and balancing from going from corporate America, transitioning to being her own entrepreneur and business owner, and how she kind of does that and manages all the things going on in her life. And it was just a really great episode. You can check that out, thecarrollconnection.simplecast.com. Also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the major listening platforms. If you'd like to watch your podcast, go on YouTube, search The Carroll Connection or at Jared M. Carroll, and it'll pop up for you. If you want to be a guest or return as a guest, hit me up on Instagram at Jared M. Carroll or at The Carroll Connection, and we'll set that up, as well as plugging The 5 Pillars to Create a Meaningful Life, only available on Amazon. And if you buy the book and you read it, please submit the review on Amazon. It goes a long way in the algorithm. So that brings me to today's episode 223 with Julia Harley.
Hello, I'm Julia Harley.
Welcome to the podcast. And
Thank
I
you
got to
for
say,
having me.
shout out to Eli because he kind of helped me link up with you and get you on the podcast. And not going to tease this, but I guess I'm going to tease it, is expect Eli to come back on the podcast at some point in the future. I'm very excited to talk to him and meet with him again, but shout out to Eli, shout out the Spawncast podcast, and appreciate you for just coming on the podcast and coming all this way and
Thank
hopping on this with
you.
me. So tell the people who you are and what you're doing currently.
Yeah, I'm Julia Harley, so I'm a tattoo artist at Willing State Tattoo Company in New Bedford. I specialize kind of in anime, color, realism, neo-traditional, anything you need. Fine line, I do all the time.
Perfect. And we're going to get into how you got into tattooing and dive into all the different pieces of that and build upon this. And we're going to go through your life story here. So how I kind of dive into the podcast with you is we talk about family dynamic. And for anyone that's new to the podcast, I always kind of explain why I do this. So I always reference to like house building or looking at the foundation of a house. And I always think about our family being like the foundation of our kind of life, whether it's the good, bad, or the ugly. And I think it's important to kind of talk about this when we talk about your life story. And it kind of allows the audience and the people listening and myself to kind of see where you come from, and we build upon that. So everything gets built upon this foundation, and I think it's important to kind of hit on this. So with that being said, with whatever you're comfortable with, could you go into your family dynamic?
So right now it's me, my husband, and my little baby. She's 10 months at home. I'm so thankful for everything we work for. We have a cute little house. Um, it's just amazing. We've really worked for it, really hard for it.
That's amazing, and I'm really happy for you and like being able to take these life steps. If you could go into like what does being a mother mean to you? Because I was talking a lot with Ashley, I guess last week, about motherhood and like balancing that and being an entrepreneur, and um, I was just really inspired by that and hearing like her perspective. So I'm kind of interested in hearing yours on that.
Oh, definitely balancing is very hard. Being kind of like a 1099 small business owner, and then coming home to your kid and you're still answering emails. Yeah. Um, but honestly, family comes first. So I shut off when I go home. I'll answer emails when she goes to sleep. But being a mother, there's like not even words for it. Honestly, it's so hard to put into words because there's a whole new meaning in your life. Your brain chemistry changes. There's like, it's just crazy. And this is my postpartum brain talking to you
Yeah.
right now. But even I was talking to my husband and he was like, I see the like world completely different. And when you have a kid, you have like it almost like opens up all these new connections with people where you can talk about your kids. Like all my clients, I'm like, oh, you have a kid too, and they're like, yeah, I have a kid too, whatever. Um, and it connects you back to the world. Where when I was just like I didn't have a kid, and me and my man we were doing long distance, it's just you and you're kind of in your own world. That's it. And now you're like, okay, I'm part of something. I go and see my family all the time. My mom comes over. You're connected more with family.
Did that having having a kid, did that change your relationship with your mom at all, or did it make you look at that relationship any differently?
It made me really thankful for her because I'm like, "Oh, wow, you did this. She had a C-section," and I'm, like, getting into the birth stories now, but,
Yeah.
like, I'm like, "Wow, that's crazy." I wasn't a C like, I didn't have a C-section, but I'm like, "Wow, just doing bringing life into the world," you're like, "Thank you for bringing me here. That was hard." You know?
Yeah, that I mean, because like I was telling you a little bit off podcast, like I definitely aspire to have a family, and hopefully to take those life steps eventually. Um, I really look at having children as like kind of like an important step for a lot of people. Obviously, it's not for everybody, and it
Right.
doesn't have to be. But for the people that does resonate with, I do envy. Like you talk about, it brings a whole new meaning to
Yeah.
life. Like I like almost crave that in some way. Like having that, and I've being like a dad one day is like I want that so bad. Like I had a great dad, and I
Yeah.
love the relationship that I had with him. And obviously, we always didn't see eye to eye, like especially as father and son. And we definitely butted heads on a lot of things. And I forget where I saw this clip of something basically like a son and his father, like the relationship of kind of like idolizing him, and then you like villainizing him or villainize him,
Right.
and then you kind of like understand him. And I've started to get into that understanding phase of like seeing why he did what he did, and like the ways that he raised us, and like why he was tough on us in different ways, and seeing all the sacrifices that he has made in his life, even his career too. Like partially where I'm at in my career is due to him taking the steps that he did and making his connections, because then his connections helps me make my own connections and get into the places that I got into. And seeing that full circle as I got older really kind of put things in perspective. And I could only imagine the aspect of like bringing a child into this world, and like how that could strengthen and deepen those connections with like your family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like I mean that sounds like beautiful, and I really like thank you for like actually going in on that a little bit, because I think it's important for people to like hear that perspective. Because like I don't know about you on social media, but I see a lot of like anti like having kids, and like
Mhm.
people don't want to have kids, and they say having kids is selfish.
Oh,
And
algorithm's crazy because 'cause I'm on the opposite end. I'm on, like, women that are like, "Honey, have 2 under 2." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, maybe I'll have 2 under 2." And then I have another person that's like, "I have 10 kids on a homestead, and this is how you make sourdough." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go make like,
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
my I think I'm on, like, the mom homestead algorithm, like
Thank God you're on that too. Like I'd be
yeah.
able, if you actually were on
My
my side,
phone
like
heard me give birth,
yeah.
so it's now like, "Oh, no, like, you're a mother, here you go. Here's all the little, like, tidbits for you now."
And I love that though, because like I agree with a lot of that stuff too, of like leaning into motherhood, leaning into
Yeah,
fatherhood, leaning into being parents. Because like, I mean, this is kind of like a hot take, or you could take it as harsh, but in my opinion, if you're able to have kids, I think you should, because I think it's selfish not to have children.
yeah,
And this is just my opinion. But my reasoning is because of all the people that have come before you in life to give you life, not even just like your parents, like generations of people that struggled and fought hard
yeah.
for their things that they had in
You don't
life.
wanna end, like, the generation,
Yeah.
yeah, you don't wanna
Like
put a stop on your family name.
yeah, and
I'm the same I'm European,
yeah, yeah.
Portuguese,
Yep, me
so
too.
I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you have to make children." You gotta keep, like, the family name.
Yeah.
My dad is like, "You're gonna, like, get rid of my last name? No, put it on." So when I had her, she had, like, 10 names, and I was like, "Oh, I" so I ended up changing her name and putting just his name, and my dad was like, "My name! It must be passed down." And I'm like, "Maybe the next one," but it's very, like that, you
There's
know?
the traditional aspect to it, that
Yeah,
there is some value in that, and obviously I understand from other people's perspectives of why they kind of have steered away from that for obviously different reasons, and the way that sometimes the culture takes things. But
yeah,
in my own perspective, I just lean into that, like, because I saw this joke on TikTok of like just people talking about legacy, and like what are you really passing down? You're not even like rich and famous, like you're not passing anything down. And like if that's what your view of legacy is, then like you're completely distorted and not thinking about reality in like the proper way. Because like
yeah,
the way that I look at it is like it creates like this like enhanced meaning, kind of like we were talking about to start the podcast, of like what's actually important in life and teaching values and people like how could you bring children into this world. It's like the world has never been a great place. We've
Yeah.
civilized it to
Well,
where it
there's
is
that
today.
quote too that's like knights aren't made in the times where there's no dragons.
Hmm.
I probably butchered that, but it's so true. Like you need, I think too, your kids need to see you grow and build and you know hit not hit rock bottom, but they need to see you go through the struggle to imagine you raised like a kid in like the most beautiful conditions. They're kind of gonna be spoiled.
Yeah, it's like
You
the nepo
want your
baby type
kid,
stuff.
yeah, you want your kid to know what hard work is.
Yeah, and it's hard to teach that if you don't go through struggle. And
Yeah,
obviously, like I could imagine for parents, like you don't want your kids to struggle. There is that aspect of like, I had to do this. I hope that they don't have to do this. But like, if you, and this is where I think society kind of messed up a little bit with the whole participation trophy stuff. Like, you
yeah,
can't coddle
awful.
too much because you need the failure.
Yeah,
You need the struggle. Like, I don't think I become the person I am without all my failures and struggles. Because if, like, like you're just saying, like, if I succeed and do all these great things and I never feel any bad or feel any struggle, like, I'm never gonna truly understand what it's like to live in like reality,
right.
honestly. And I think it's important that children have those arenas to kind of like fail and struggle and go through things that are difficult. And obviously, I think it's on our like us as parents to kind of like create a safe space almost where they
Yeah,
could do that, where they can fail, but it's not gonna like completely derail them because obviously failure can do that. And like
right.
depression's real, anxiety is real, like that stuff exists in the world. And there is like that negative aspect where some people don't cope well with that stuff, but sometimes when they don't cope well with it, it's because they weren't always exposed to it either.
Yeah,
So like
you
it
have to
goes,
learn your coping mechanisms, your coping skills, and in those ways too, you kind of learn what your talent is. Like I grew up like I moved here from Portugal with my mom, and for a while it was just me and her in a little like in the back of someone's house. We called it the Bell House, but it was like someone's like it was their house, and then it was like not a shed, but it was called a carriage house back then. And so we lived in the carriage house until like my mom met my stepdad, which I love him. Um, and like in those moments like that, you're learning, you're seeing everything. I drew a lot. I imagine stories a lot, you know. I feel like in those moments you find like your talent and your like inner voice.
yeah,
So you need a struggle.
I think pain creates opportunity to be creative and to create an outlet.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of great artwork or I can't think of like another word off that. I'll just say artwork
Yeah.
comes from the pain. Like even like me writing a book or starting a podcast, this stuff comes from pain, looking for something deeper, something more meaningful. And that comes from those times where I'm struggling to look at things in a more positive light or what's the meaning. And I was kind of telling you the origins of the podcast and stuff like that. And this podcast has become a place where I feel like I could really like open up to people and allow people to share stuff and create meaning versus just living my life the way I was, like partying, drinking, going to work. Like it was very fleeting, not very meaningful. And this is a place where I'm not a very talented drawer. I can't really draw or illustrate or um, any of that type of stuff. I'm not, I didn't get gifted with that. I can't sing, none of that. But I feel like this is my artwork,
Yeah.
speaking to people, talking to people, and creating that space for conversation. And to me, that's art. And I try to do that in my way and connect with people like you who do amazing stuff. And we're going to get into that as we continue this to share that with people because I think it's important. I think everyone has a story. And building upon this a little bit, you kind of mentioned being young and drawing in the house. Talk to me a little bit about your childhood and like how you kind of whether it's made friends or socialized, like were there hobbies, were there sports, like what were the things that you kind of did to kind of like connect with people?
I think so. I made a connection in my brain while you said that. Drawing connected me with people because when I first moved here, I did not speak like English. So I was like, oh, like here, like I don't know what to tell you. Like I drew it here. Can you do that? You know, like, but I didn't talk to a lot of people. It was hard for me to make friends at first. Um, And then once I learned English in pre-first, because I had to stay back, because they were like, "There's no way this girl can keep going." Then I learned English, and um, I just kind of kept drawing because I was like, my dad's an artist, so that I was like, I want to draw like my dad, and that pushed me too. And my mom's at the time she was a fashion teacher, so she was drawing, for her classes too. So I just always had it.
That makes a lot, and like that's what I was kind of hoping to hear because it was make I was like making the connections, but I didn't want to like assume. So like I
Yeah,
wanted you to like say that because obviously I see a lot of your work that you've posted on like social media and stuff, and we were talking about some of the stuff you've done prior to that off the podcast, and hearing you talk about how drawing and art was kind of like your way to communicate makes a lot of sense, and like it's super interesting to see that and like to hear that because you're talking about coming from a different country trying to learn English and get accustomed to the way that things are done here and being at such a young age. I can only imagine how difficult that was to kind of
yeah.
to do that. Take me to kind of like we're moving a little bit forward here, but as you go through the schooling system, like do you continue to kind of look for art classes? Is that becoming like an outlet for you during like kind of like school and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I always took art classes. I went to like Dartmouth Middle, Dartmouth High. They had a great art program. So I always took like I think I took AP art at Dartmouth High School. I had an awesome teacher, Miss Irwin, and she put together she helped me get my college because I was like I just want to draw like emo art and whatever. And she was like, "No, draw this pine cone, draw this pepper." Like, so I just want to draw things from my head. I think because I was so stuck in my head from all those years. And she pushed me to really like break the mold, draw. My teacher in middle school too, Lisa Duhame, was like, "Stop drawing Jack Skellington, you emo little girl." Like, I was like, "Okay, I'll stop drawing Jack. Just please, I love Tim Burton." But then I finally like found my voice through making like my breath from college, and then going to college. I really kind of developed like my own style.
Yeah, let's dive into that. So, because obviously the kind of building block for that for the conversation is like, did you go to college? Did you not go to college? Take me through that decision to ultimately go to college.
So I decided to go to the School of Visual Arts in New York City, which was a good and bad decision. Because there were like there's two schools that I knew of, Cal Arts and School of Visual Arts, that had stop motion animation. That was my dream. So the closest one was New York City School of Visual Arts, so I went there. Um, and unfortunately, I was the only like one that wanted to major in stop motion. And the second year I was, because the first year they're like, "Here's all the basics, just do this." Second year you really pick. And they were like, "Oh, you were the only one that wanted that major. I hate to break it to you, but we had to cut that major." And I was like, I went to this private school to get, stop motion animation, whatever, and I fought tooth and nail, and I wound up transferring to mass art. But I'm thankful I went to school of visual arts because I met my man there.
Really? What? How hard was that decision to go to New York though? Because like obviously, I'm guessing you kind of stayed in like the Massachusetts area growing up. So
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
was
it
that
was
difficult?
tough because I was like, I do Westport drives. I love going on trails. I'm a nature girl. Like, I went to New York and I was like, "Oh, this is like smog, rats, like the size of chihuahuas." Like, I was like, "Oh," but I loved like the food and the cultures. You just like would go down the street, you could get anything you want. And I like the clubbing life in New York. Me and Juan would go like to the craziest little like parties, whatever. So that was fun. And I would like make our trips back to New York, but I could only last a weekend. So
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like obviously the noise and the chaos of a
yeah.
major city like that of New York too, with like the amount of stuff that's going on there, insane. But like I got to give you a lot of credit for taking that step though to like go outside of the state and leave your home and go to somewhere different because I don't think a lot of people do that. And I think I was telling you a little bit about going to Texas and stuff, and obviously this is like post college, but I think at any point in our lives, having the opportunities to go somewhere else, whether it is for education or for work or whatever it is important because like it puts you around like different people and like
Yeah.
those different people help create different ideas and like you get more cultured and you get to see things from a different point of view. And I don't think that everyone looks for that because of the aspect of it being uncomfortable. And who wants to be uncomfortable? No one really
Right.
wants that. You're like, as humans, we do try to crave and search for being comfortable. But I think growing requires being uncomfortable. And taking those steps to put yourself in those situations is important because, like, as you get further and further in life, you don't have to do that. So making yourself do that is
Oh,
going to
do it
help.
early. Do it
Yeah.
now. That's like I shaved my head now. It's like I gotta do this when I'm young. Like shave your head now because I'm not doing that when I'm 40. I'm gonna look weird. Or like Sinead O'Connor.
And I mean, like taking like the risk and stuff like that, or doing something like that you want to do. If you want to
Yeah.
shave your head, like do that.
Oh
Like
yeah, I
take
was
that.
like bald in New York. And my man did it too. We both shaved our heads. People were making fun of us. And I was like, we just want to see our skull.
I
Like,
think that's awesome though that you're doing it because you want to and you're trying it and like I can imagine there's obviously different emotions that could probably come from that, but like it's the risk, it's trying something, it's being different. Like we for some reason as people do chase like being like other people for some reason and like instead of just trying to be
oh,
yourself.
especially artists. There's no like how many original like you're like, oh, they're inspired by this, you know? It's hard to be original. Absolutely.
Yeah, authenticity is like rare, it's scarce. Like you don't often find that in like I mean even like I look to like create my own ways in like podcasting. Like it's so hard to stay true to like yourself without conforming to like how content's created. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
could easily talk about stuff that's like political or socially dividing or trending and I could get clicks from that. I'm a pretty
Right.
good speaker. I can communicate effectively. If I picked something random like that, I could probably thrive in that. But like that's not authentically what I want to talk about. And I don't think it really pushes society forward in a
No.
positive way.
No.
And there's a plenty of people that do that. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like those people. I wanted to create a space that I felt like was accepting to everybody where anyone from any walk of life could come on this podcast and talk to me about their life and like I respect people like yourself that are willing to sit in the chair across from me and like it's kind of telling you like it's kind of like a therapy session where we're going through like these different points of your life and
Yeah.
it can be uncomfortable for a lot of people to like
Oh yeah. I'm horrible at therapy, so I'm like, oh my God, me recollecting like anything. I'm like, oh God, with my postpartum brain, I'm like tick, 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 like scrambling up there.
but like this is like the hard part of the
Yeah.
conversation. Like we're gonna get this. It gets easier from here, and like you don't realize like how quickly it goes. But
Yeah.
like because like we're chatting in the beginning, and all of a sudden it's like a cold restart, and it's like
Yeah.
let's go talk about your beginning life and like the
Yeah.
hard
My
stuff.
SpongeBob and my filing cabinets are like
Yeah,
beginning life.
literally.
Oh my God.
And then like I've had people like critique that, like, well, maybe you shouldn't start with that. I'm like, yeah, but
That's good.
there's a reason for that. Like we're talking like chronologically and trying to
Yeah.
tell a story
Yeah,
like
it's like
this.
you're doing like a biography.
Yeah.
You're
And
reading a biography.
And I always say like this is the intro to the Carroll connection, like on the universe, basically. Like I always send the invitation to anyone if you want to come back on, if you've been on, like we don't have to do the beginning stuff anymore. We dive
Yeah.
into the conversation from there. We don't have to spend the first half an hour talking about beginning life
Yeah.
and all that stuff because the audience will know you. Like, and if they want to hear it, they go back to the beginning episode and do that. So like we don't have to redo that. And
Yeah.
I'm real life creating like a universe where people can come on and like share their life stories and why they do what they do, or if they're promoting something, why they're promoting it, what's new, like figuring out a space for myself and doing that and creating conversations that have meaning. Like we were talking about like children in the beginning of this podcast, and like I have like repeatedly said on the podcast, like I think part of the reason I do this is to like provide this to my future kids where they can have
Yeah.
this as one as an example that you can create, you
Oh
can
yeah,
do
your kids
whatever.
are gonna watch this back. Something I think about all the time because I've been on a Jersey Shore binge, and I'm thinking about like, wow, JWoww's kid is probably gonna watch Jersey Shore. Snooki's kid's gonna watch Jersey Shore and see that.
They're gonna wonder
Yeah, they.
how they got to where they are, why people know you. And like that's like the weird reality of like where we are as society is like we've grown up with technology and social
Yeah,
media and like
and it's a
partially
stamp.
yeah, we partially know, but like we don't fully understand like the repercussions of this like
Yeah,
completely yet. I think
they're gonna
people
clip back and be like, "Oh, look what you said here."
oh yeah, yeah. Like
Like,
I've said some probably dumb shit on this podcast
yeah.
that it's gonna like bite me in the ass in like
But
a
we
few
couldn't do
years.
that to our parents, like, "Oh, well, I saw your Instagram story in, like, 10 years ago." Like, like,
I looked through your highlights and this
yeah, I looked
thing.
through your highlights and I saw what you clipped. Like, like I'd be like, "What do you mean?"
So I mean that's also part of the reason I think I've always stuck to the conversations that I do
Yeah,
because things do get clipped and are outdated and things change and this is like a screenshot of time in some ways. So like I'm hoping that from what they see on this is like like you ever had the thought like what were your parents like at your age like or like younger
wild.
like what they could have been like and
Yeah.
I started this at 24 so like they get to really see my 20s like what I view as like some of my most critical years of like becoming like a conscious like aware adult and like being more emotionally vulnerable and consistent and like honest with myself and not being authentic and like how to do that and that's what I hope to share and like kind of tie that back in with like the children conversation that we had to start this podcast. But going back to like taking the journey, going to New York and then transferring, when you transfer, how do you kind of adjust to like obviously you wanted to go there for stop motion? Do you continue to do that at in Massachusetts at the school, or like what do you do next?
Vassar actually had an amazing stop motion program that I didn't even know about. So I was like, "Oh man, I should have just gone here and saved so much money first because in-state tuition, everything." And transfer credits were so messy because it was a private school and I had to redo like a year and I was like, it just made me so angry. But I actually loved mass art, like way better than school visual arts. Coming out of school visual arts, but save your money. Don't go there. And I just love mass art. I had like way more supplies. I had a whole like studio space to film at, and I had to fight for that at SVA. And my teacher there at SVA was awful, and my teacher at mass art was amazing, just humble. Because school visual arts, it's all like older like animators that and same with like mass arts animators that have been in the industry for a while. But SVA, and maybe it's New York, they always had a chip on their shoulder, like a little bit of a huge ego. I don't even want to say a little bit, a huge ego. And then mass art, it was just humble. We're here to teach you. Here's the basics. Run with it. And they just gave you everything you needed.
That's amazing, honestly, that they had all those resources to be able to allow you to kind of actually learn
Yeah.
versus like a school you're paying tons of money for and like
Yeah.
ultimately like all right, we
Oh,
don't
I
even
was like,
have
wow, a private school versus the state school? State school.
yeah, you wouldn't even have
It
thought
was
that too.
shocking. It
That's it.
was
That
shocking.
is crazy. It's like what were some of the kind of things that you found like important when you were at Mass Art, like learning there about stop motion that you think has helped you as you started to kind of trudge along this path towards stop motion?
So it was so many tools. Like stop motion is I could go on for like 5 hours about it. Like tie downs, more simple ways how to make a puppet. Um, because SVA they wanted you to buy like the $300. I don't know if you've seen like what's inside of a stop motion puppet. They want you to like actually buy that maquette that's like
Yeah, it's
$400.
like metal almost.
Yeah,
Like
and
so
I
like
was
that's
like,
like
I don't
actually
have that money. So, at Massar, I just like they had the tools there. I just did like armature wire and made it like just crafted it, and it worked just as good. Those puppets are still alive today because they want you to make the other ones to that's what they have in the industry and they last longer. But the way I make my puppets, they last the same.
that's so cool though. Like
Yeah.
because I don't think I asked this. Why stop motion? Where did the interest in that come from?
I just was obsessed. I think too, Nightmare Before Christmas, I saw that when I was like learning English. And I saw this is foofy, but I saw how Jack was like misunderstood. And I was like, oh, that's me. Like, and I just like that movie had its claws in me, and I was like, "I'm gonna make, like, my own Jack Skellington." And then I watched, like, all these other Tim Burton movies, Corpse Bride, um, then I saw Henry Selick's movies, Coraline, uh, all of the Laika movies, and I was like, "I'm gonna make this happen." Um, and it and I was like, "Do I wanna move to Portland? No." So I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna have to figure out how to make my own studio." Freelance. I did freelance for a little bit. It was fun, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine the amount of time and effort that goes into stop motion and like
Yeah.
the amount of resources you need to put into that because like obviously when you have technology and now we've talked about a little bit of like AI off the podcast and
Yeah.
like how that's changing the industry like and I was telling you and obviously I should have looked up the name of that movie from that Star Wars creator about it was like Mad
Yeah.
something how he spent 30 years creating his stop motion project like
Yeah.
it takes a lot of time and effort and like I can imagine too when it's just
24 photos a second.
yeah, you're one person doing it too. Like
Yeah.
obviously when you get to these bigger and bigger like studios and people, they have production teams and all this other stuff. But like when you're starting out trying to do this, I can imagine how difficult and like
Yeah.
daunting of a task it is to like do this.
And I have friends that are in it. They live in California, and that's where it's, like, thriving. But they're all still now they're doing it more freelance. Um, it's just better that way 'cause a lot if you're working in a studio like this happened to me, I was working with the studio, you would make an animatic, like, to present, like, everything, like, "Okay, these are the colors of puppets. This is the animatic. This is, like, the whole spiel," whatever. And then say you're, like, midway through the project, they can just cut your project, and then you're like, "Okay, I have to go find another job." So that was, like, that was the aggravation with me in animation, like, that couldn't just be my full time, because I did want, like, the family, the kid, the house. I still wanted that and animation, and it didn't blend like that, like, because it was like, "Okay, I'm either gonna do animation, bartend on the side, and, like, just live like that, whatever." Never, because like, I could never afford what I can now. So that's what brought me to tattooing.
And before we get to the tattooing
Yeah.
piece, how hard of a decision was that to make? Because like obviously your
Yeah.
heart's in that, like to ultimately switch that and turn to something like tattooing.
Yeah, it was hard, cause I, like, really tried to do animation, and it just never panned out. Reached out to so many people, and I was like, "You know what?" I saw an ad, and, um, a good like, my tattoo artist and a good friend of mine, Larry DiGiusto, he led me on that path. He was like, "I know you've wanted to do this a while." He got on the phone with me, and he was like, "Why don't you just go do it?" Like, and he gave me a bunch of notes, and I found an ad. I went and did an apprenticeship. I was like, "Okay," like, because once you do tattooing, you're doing tattooing. Like, it's not a hobby. It's not something you just buy an Amazon machine and you do it on your friends at a party. That's your career now. So it was hard. Like, I haven't done animation in a very long time.
Have you ever thought about trying to like do that on like the side and like keep that going?
Yeah. I so with my house, I wanna build, like, a studio, like, either in the basement, because you have to shoot in, like, no light, like,
Mhm.
'cause you can't say you take a photo and you're like, "Oh my god, the light's off." You can see the flicker and you're like, "I gotta." It's not like 3D or 2D animation, you just cut it and you reanimate it. You have to scrap that and reanimate again the whole thing because you can't just take one frame out.
Mhm.
It's gonna be like it's gonna look weird.
That's crazy how much detail and like time and effort that you're putting into
Yeah.
that, and like every little detail matters.
Yeah, it's not like 3D, like, "Oh, can you change, like, the outfit?" "Oh, no, I have to shoot that whole thing all over again."
That's yeah.
Yeah,
So creating a studio like that would be like super beneficial, and like I mean that would be cool. Like even if like because I've seen a lot of this is actually starting to like make sense for me because like me and my girlfriend have gotten into like watching stop motion lately. I'm looking for different
yeah.
films and stuff, and
It's
I'm
just
always
like
like
a breath of fresh air seeing stop motion versus, like, a 3D film. You're like, "Oh my god, it's tangible. I wanna grab it."
feels homey in a weird way. Like
Yeah,
I don't. It's like strangely
like
like
Fantastic Mr. Fox. I'm like, I'm warm watching this."
like, have you
Like,
ever seen or heard of, like, Backrooms, like, on, like, that
mhm.
type like, that energy? Not, like, the
Yeah,
creepy versions, but, like, the familiar, like weird, like comfy feeling about it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel when watching some of these
Like
stop motions.
liminal space feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that feeling.
And that's how I feel watching it. But looking back, because I'm always like, why are some of these so like short? Like, and
Yeah.
then that makes sense because how much time and effort that like
Oh
I'm
yeah, my
making the clip
longest
right now.
film was 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
I mean, low key, that would thrive in today's society with
Yeah.
like social media, how people like consume and like,
Oh, 7 seconds. They click, it's gone.
yeah.
Okay, on to the next. What can you give me?
So
The
honestly,
attention span is crazy.
like I'm just thinking about this like out loud right now. Like if you eventually created a studio and looked into it, like there's a lot of like potential with social media to like even dabble in that. Obviously, it's
Yeah,
super time consuming. You have a lot going on, but
right.
like that would be like an
In the
interesting thing.
beginning of TikTok, I did dabble and I was posting every day and I was like, this is how I make like my stop motion mouse. Check it out. And it actually like went really well for a bit. And then I abandoned my TikTok.
Mm. That's what happens though. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how like much you were posting, like, because like I grew
It
like,
was I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get on this creators fund, posting 3 times a day at
yep,
the
yep.
times." My social media since I've become a mom, I'm like, "No, I'm gonna be with my kid." Like,
That's real though.
yeah,
Like,
like
and I mean, you should like
yeah.
so like I mean that makes a lot of sense that you do that. But like to build off that, like I have a TikTok page that has like 59K that
Yeah.
I was doing like 2020, 2021. I was doing like sad boy content. I was going through like
Yeah.
a bunch of like bad dating
Yeah, I
experiences
feel
before
like it was
then.
2021, I had my TikTok 45K and I was like, "Whoa, I'm
Yeah.
like viral." And then I just stopped and then now I'm like trying to pick it back up like, "I know I was showing you stop motion, but like check out this tattoo."
Yeah,
And people are
yeah,
like, "What is that? What? You're a
yeah.
tattoo artist now?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
I mean, it's on brand. I feel like in some way, like the whole tattooing and stop motion, like
A lot
the
of animators are actually getting into tattooing. I follow this amazing page, Salty Animators, on Instagram, and I'm not like sure what they are, but they have this page, this Google Doc of all the animators that have switched careers because of AI, because of all the budget cuts, everything. And I was like, yeah, tattooers, because it's like it's one of the last jobs with AI that's like a tangible job you can draw. Because like graphic design, storyboarding was, like, almost the first to go with AI. Like, because I follow, like I have a bunch of friends that are like, "Oh my god, like, I'm toast with AI." Because like, just type a prompt, whatever. I called it the unindustrial revolution.
it's scary. I've talked a lot about AI and this, and even like it affects like not even just like the art aspect, but like every aspect of like corporate America and like technology, like
Oh, yeah.
businesses. Like this, people really aren't fully aware like how fast this is going to happen. Like it's been happening,
Oh
and
my god,
like we're
even political warfare where, like, they'll fake a video and you're like, "Oh my god." And they're like, "Oh, this was AI." And I'm like,
yeah,
"What?"
I've I've low key I've tricked my girlfriend once. Like it was like a fake news thing. And it was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, something in Australia, an orca attacked someone, and it was like it looked
Oh, I
ridiculous.
know,
But
yeah.
like the news anchor part looked real enough. You're like, oh my god, what happened? Like, and
Yeah.
it because like some of the videos are still like you could tell because it's got that uncanny vibe to it.
Oh,
But
they,
like,
like their mouths are, like and their heads are like
yeah, but like I don't know if you've seen like I don't think it's Google Vimeo or something
Oh,
like
the
that.
Google one? And
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, we're
they're getting
cooked.
close. Like they're
We're
getting
cooked."
close, and it's gonna get scary once you can create like TV shows and movies
Yeah.
and like
There's, like, a studio right now. I was just reading up on Cartoon Brew, I think that's what the news is called for the animation. And it was there's, like, whole studios making animations with AI.
there's a place for it. Like if you
Yeah.
strictly make that and let people know,
There's an anime that's completely AI that's out right now. I forget the title of it, and I tried watching it and I was like, "Oh, awful." But I'm like, "Oh, still that's." We said to AI, "Oh, you can't draw hands," and like, the Will Smith eating spaghetti,
yeah,
and now it's like now it's punching us with those hands.
yeah. I saw one where they updated him eating spaghetti. And it still
Yeah,
looked
but I was like,
it's
"Oh,
getting there.
that's real." Like,
Yeah, it's starting to get there, and like it's gonna get to a place where it learns from itself. So
technology
it's
progresses.
gonna
Like, you
progress.
can't
You're not gonna be
stop
able to
it.
separate that. Like where
Yeah.
people are gonna be drawn to it because also the sad reality of it is it's going to be able to create stuff faster than they're able to produce it. And I wonder, this is me just thinking, like, as we're talking, I wonder if actors and actresses will sign their rights to their voice to
I
movie
think that
companies.
already has been
It probably
happening.
has, like,
Yeah,
where they're allowing them to do it and, like, use their voice to make their characters
yeah.
faster for them. Instead of having to act and do voice acting, like, just take my voice and let it go. And that's scary, like, because some aspect I'm like, "Hell yeah, like, we're gonna get our shows, like,
Right.
faster," but, like, is this just, like, the dirty side of, like,
Oh,
capitalism talking to
yeah,
me? Like,
CGI is like a lot. There was one, what was it? There was a show that, or not a show, it was a movie, and I think it won an Emmy, and a lot of like the effects were AI, and people were like, "What?"
I don't
It
know.
was recent.
It's I don't know, it's scary,
There's a
like
lot though. I mean,
yeah, I mean, kinda even to, like, pivot this because I wanna, like, talk about, like, tattooing, like, to make this connection, have you noticed any of that with, like, even if clients that have you ever seen someone bring you, like,
oh,
AI
clients
generated?
have brought me so many AI generated things, and my favorite, not favorite, is when they bring me like an AI generated image of like finger tattoos that I'm like, that's not possible. Like the big one right now, I get that's AI is like Jesus on a rose with a cross and a dove is here. And I'm like, I can't, that's going to fall off like in 2 weeks. And that's going to look like a big old blob later. Because finger tattoos, they can't be simple. They can't be fine line because it's just going to come off. Like, they have to just like I have one here and it's like just thick symbolism, blah, whatever. Or like the big like words or
Mhm.
something, you know? Because fingers, like you're using them all the time.
Yeah.
It's never gonna stick.
Yeah, it's obviously in sunlight, you're using it, like,
Yeah.
washing your hands
And
constantly, like,
also like
it's
you want a whole portrait in this little spot and in 10 years it's gonna be like
nothing.
blah.
Yeah. People don't think about that,
No,
like,
they don't. I have to talk about aging all the time.
and, like,
Like,
just taking care of your, like,
yeah, like you
tattoos
know
and,
that
like
line's gonna grow.
yeah,
You
and
can't get it. It's tiny. Nope.
yeah. Talk to me a little bit about with, like, how you got like, making that transition. Obviously, we kinda, like, we're shifting and talking about AI over that for a little bit, but and I wanted to make that connection with
Hmm.
tattooing first. But talk to me about that transition into tattooing, like and you've talked about, like, a lot of people making that jump, like,
Yeah.
how easy or difficult was that for you?
It was, I think I had already, like, I had been so mad at animation. So I was just like, you know what? I need to steer into another avenue because at the time I had moved to Miami and I was like, I need something that pays the bills, like, bad right now. And I had always wanted to be a tattoo artist when I was a kid. And then, I always get tattoos. And my friend that was a tattoo artist was like, do it. And I always had in my head, my mom's super supportive of me, and she really supported me through my animation dream. But I remember when I was a kid too, I was like, "I want to be a tattoo artist too," and she was like, "You're gonna tattoo butterflies on asses. Are you sure about that?" And I was like, "Oh, maybe not." And now I'm like, "Mom, I'm making money doing it. Like, I can tattoo like 6 butterflies a day probably, and like pay my bills." So that always stuck in my head. But I was like, "I'm gonna do it," and it's been really rewarding ever since.
And I could see, like, the natural progression too. We talked about even from, like, childhood, being into drawing and how that,
Yeah,
like, helped you communicate and going to, like, stop motion and, like, being around different people and having different experiences, and then continuing that through tattooing is obviously, like, probably super
yeah.
rewarding. How difficult was it to get into in terms of, like, actually tattooing on skin? Like, were you nervous to, like, to get to
It
that?
it it was not a linear, like, step process, like 1, 2, 3. It was like, okay, I went, my Larry taught me a lot about it, and then I was like, I'm gonna try to like kind of self teach. It was COVID, so I was like, I'm gonna teach myself, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna find an apprenticeship. That's how you do it right. And I started in Miami Beach. I don't even want to say the shop name in case, but because I ended up being like, I have to get out of here because there was a lot of shady business going on there, and it's Miami Beach. It's not Westport. It's not Dartmouth. I was like, oh, like there was some shady stuff. So I ended up going to an all girls. I found this awesome studio. It was called Glitter Poop Tattoo Studios, 10 minutes from Wynwood. And the team there was so awesome. Shout out to Glitter Poops. Lola, she honestly taught me a lot about technique, um, kind of composition on arm. You have to flow with the muscle. And I haven't stopped ever since then.
That's awesome. And like, obviously, like I have tattoos and I've got into being tattooed and stuff. And um, how I look at it, it's like a therapy session,
Yeah.
honestly. And it's very
You have to
relaxing
have
and
bedside manners. If you're not like, if you're just like kind of a dick the whole time, no matter like how good the tattoo is, I'm like, I'm not coming back.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know?
You one, I always say like do your research and find someone that makes the art that you enjoy, but also giving them like the artist the freedom to create too. Like I think that's super important
Yeah.
because like obviously it's your skin, your tats, you want stuff on your body. I get that, but also the tattoo artist is a artist. Like
Oh, I feel
let
like
them
when
be
the
art.
client is too like I want this here, this here, this here, this here with 20 more elements and I want it just like this. I feel like I'm like, oh, like that's not gonna come out good. And I'm super truthful with them. I'm like, that's too many. I always say that's too many things in the soup. It's too salty. Let's try again. Because I want your tattoo to look good in 10 years. I want my thing with tattoos too. I like when I can see like what a tattoo is from like 6 feet away. Like I don't like when people are like, what this, and then it looks like smush,
Yeah.
mush. Like you want it to be like high contrast, high visibility, just something like impactful.
Yeah, I think it's good as a tattoo artist to be truthful with like people and like even my artist, like she deals like if there's something that she doesn't think is gonna fit or work, like she's
Yeah.
just straight up on it, like that's just not gonna work. And I think giving that like I think in providing examples is obviously important, like giving some type of visualization to the tattoo artist of like what you're thinking. But like I said, like giving that creative freedom because like half the stuff that I have, like my artist just hit it out of the park. I'm just like, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. Like
Yeah,
just
because you
do
let
your
her like
thing.
do her
Because
thing.
like and that's like the scary part too, if you've never had tattoos to like begin to trust someone in
Yeah.
that aspect, because like you have no
Like that's your
idea.
skin.
Yeah.
You see that if you're a person that like is gonna stare at that one mole or like you stare at that thing all the time, you're not the person to get that tattoo.
Mhm.
You have to like and let go and let tattoo artist, not let God, let tattoo artist.
Yeah, I think it's important too, and like the process and the funny thing for me has always been like um getting tattooed doesn't hurt until it's like the end, and
Oh, the
it's like
whites. Oh
whites.
no.
It's not even always the whites for me. It's the wiping. It's
Yeah.
the constant
Yeah.
wiping on the raw ass skin after you just tattooed it, and like, because I mean, I do big pieces. Like I'm doing like very like it's
Yeah.
chunks of my body at times. Like I don't do like smaller pieces and stuff like that. So I'm usually like there for a few hours getting stuff done and just getting shit just drilled on. And the parts that like you know are gonna hurt, but like you don't know, like my shin.
Awful.
Oh, that
Awful.
like my knee, like it hurt, like and it was not like
But it's
great,
like
but
the
like
elbow. The knee is like the elbow. You're
yeah,
like, oh, it's just gonna bounce around. It's a weird, funny feeling, but whatever.
but the
You get to
shin.
the shin and you get to the
Oh,
back of the knee.
yeah, the back of the knee, I did not like that, like, at
Mm-mm.
all, like
In the ditch. In the
yeah,
inner.
yeah,
Awful.
shin or, like, this part of the wrist, like,
Yeah.
here, didn't like that either,
Nope.
not fun spot, that's gonna be my next area, I'm getting stuff
Yeah.
done, like, know that, like
Yeah. Any thin skin.
yeah,
Thin
inside
skin.
parts, like, always, like, that's
Mm.
not a great experience, but, like, I have, like, on my shin, where is it? This part of the sword right here,
Awful.
like,
Yeah.
oh, that
Even the
part.
nose on that.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
here. That not great. I'm not talking about like the
Like I
lines in
kind
the
of
sword.
shaved. I don't like. I have this, and that sucked so bad. All this packing in black here. I was like,
Yeah.
and then this like, I had this guy right here,
Oh hell
which that kind of sucked, but it wasn't that. That was awful.
yeah.
That was 8 hours of like, it was like this, and I was like,
It's yeah, because everyone always is like the funny part with like after it's like did it hurt?
no, I loved it. It's just like acupuncture.
Like obviously it fucking hurts.
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's I don't know how to explain. Like in a way it's like enjoyable, but like
Right.
after a while, like oh man, I want this
Oh,
to be
you get
done.
the adrenaline rush. You feel it, and then you go.
Yeah, you crash hard.
It's
I
like
always
Red
say
Bull.
I'll have to. You know the meme of the fox that looks disheveled and it's like sitting
Yeah,
across
it's
like.
like
I always say to my tattooers, that's what I feel
yeah.
like after a tattoo is like. I feel like this fox is completely just like frazzled. It's like, do you like it? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I show 'em.
And then it's like the shitty part too is always the healing process. Like it's
Yeah.
that's always the worst. Like
Do you get tattoo fever?
no, I've never had like anything like that. No,
As I got older, every time I get a tattoo, I have to take the next day off.
I
Get
usually plan
tattoo
it that way.
fever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like I get like fever, sick. My immune system drops, but then the tattoo looks beautiful. But I'm like, oh, that sucked.
I mean, I definitely like feel it in the way like it just like it's like a I treat it just like a sore muscle, like I
Yeah.
sprained something or pulled something. I just treat
Oh,
it
when
like
I was
that.
young, I like got a leg sleeve, and I was like, hell yeah, I want more.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, dude, I got like, I got a little thing, and I was like,
Yeah, it gets to that point where that's why I'm like I'm trying to crank. I'm like I'm
it
trying to
hurts more as you get older.
fight the like I want to get them done faster
Get
because I
'em.
know
I don't want
that
to be that person, but get them done while you're young.
yeah, that's like the thing is like that's where the part like I shot myself in the foot because I didn't get them when I was younger.
Yeah.
It's like I lost some good years to get them done, but I've been cranking them out the last several years because like I'm gonna get this arm done, and then I would like to do like something on my chest because I have nothing on my chest, just my
Oh,
arms and my
whenever I do
legs.
someone's chest, they're like, they hate it. That's
Oh
that's
yeah,
a bad part too.
I can imagine collarbone and then sternum, like
Yeah,
nipple
I just have
probably
a
around
baby
there.
thing on my collarbone, but I was like, oh, that sucked.
Yeah, because like I would like to do like a big piece of my chest, and then if I have my arms, chest, and the leg sleeve, I would be okay, like
Yeah,
good for there. But like I always said, if I had all the money in the world, I'd be fucking
yeah.
tatted all the way up, everything. Like I like the look. I like and respect the
You look
craft.
buffer with tattoos. Like this arm, I look like swole, and then like this is less full. But imagine if I didn't have that. I'm a little limpy lady.
I just feel like I look. I feel like I don't know how to say it. Like I feel like more of myself
Yeah,
in a way,
comfortable in your skin.
and
If
I
I didn't have
feel
tattoos, I think I'd be like, "Ooh."
I feel unique in a way too.
Yeah,
Like
like
not like I'm
coloring
trying to
book.
be different, but like um I feel like I'm authentically being like what I want to be, and like I'm not conforming to like society says you shouldn't get tattoos or my parents say you
Yeah,
shouldn't get tattoos. Like I feel like I can be me, and like if I want to put shit on my fucking body, like I want to do that,
yeah,
and like this represents me, and some of it like my leg sleeves Game of Thrones. I just
right.
fucking love Game of Thrones. Like it's my
Yeah,
favorite TV show. I don't care how bad the ending was. At the end,
yeah,
like I liked it, and I thought it'd be a cool like concept for a tattoo sleeve, so I did
yeah,
it. And doing things that like kind of work with stuff that I like and have meaning. Like my whole sleeve right here is like all this book. I made
yeah.
it like a spooky like version
Oh,
and stuff, and
cool.
like a hiker because I love hiking. And he's like the 5 pillars right here, so he walks up to the
I
five
saw the
pillars.
little like gravestone. I was like, ooh, spooky
Yeah, so
tattoo.
it's walking to the 5 pillars, and
Yeah,
I
she
made
does great black and gray.
yeah, it's strictly black and gray, doesn't do
Yeah,
color. And I was
because
like,
you gotta let that breathe too. You have to know like your contrast and let things
yeah,
breathe,
yeah, and
and you can't rely on white.
yeah, and she does a great job. Like blew me away with this,
Yeah,
especially these ones too. Like, even like my dragon for like my Game of Thrones, like very
yeah.
like because like there's not a ton of Game of Thrones dragons like good ones on the
Well, you
internet.
see a lot of Japanese
Yeah,
with dragons and tattoos.
yeah. So like and
Very
she'd never
rare to
watched the
see
show, so like I
European.
kind of just like do your thing, but like this is kind of what I'm looking for. Like, and I gave her like the pictures of like the actual like
Yeah,
dragons from the show, killed it, knocked it out of the park, and like even just like this for like my my arm sleeve, like for the book, came out better than I could have ever imagined. I would have never thought the way like she stacked like the pillars and like the background and like
yeah.
made them crack and like the moon and the bats and like knocked it out of the park. And I'm like,
Now you gotta get this done.
yeah, that's the
Yeah, it looks a little empty
yeah
here.
that part. And like because like I'm
Yeah,
gonna
once you're like sleeved up, you're like, yes.
that's I just
Yeah,
like I need the other arm now because I remember I got this one and then got the leg sleeve. I'm like I think I'm good. My
yeah.
tattoo artist like you're gonna be back for more. Like
Oh, you get the tattoo bug.
oh, I've got it.
Yeah,
It bit me like after like the first like one. Like it was like, yeah, this is gonna be a problem.
yeah.
Cause like I don't go crazy. I'm not like a shoe collector or a fashion person. Like
This
but
is like a collection in a way.
yeah.
I call this arm my keychain arm. Like this is instead of Labubu's, I grab one of these guys over here and that's it.
I think it's better than Malibu.
Yeah, yeah.
Shit's creepy. I don't know. Like, I don't know where those came from. I have no. It just like everywhere. I mean, I was driving in Pawtucket like this summer, and like people were selling on the side of the roads.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is going
Labubu's,
on?
it's like back then, Coach, when you were like, people would like sell fake Coach on the street, and you're like,
Or back in the day when
okay.
I don't know if you ever played this like Webkins back in the day. Like,
Well, oh my God, Webkin, Pill Pet.
everyone had that.
Yeah.
I was me and my girlfriend joke about Webkins. She talked about the other day. She actually, I think she made a joke today about like
TY dolls.
I don't know. See why.
But like the TY dolls, like they were like Beanie Babies.
Yeah, I know.
That's what,
Yeah. Had all different ones. I had like different colored ones, like sports ones, and like
Oh, if you save those, sell them, or you can find like, I think the Princess Diana purple one is like crazy money.
it's crazy how
It's
that.
like Pokemon cards.
Yeah. Everything kind of creates its value the longer that you have it. I did want to kind of bring us back because like we're
Yeah,
getting towards
sorry.
that back end. No, we're good. We're getting lost in conversation. That's
Yeah.
fine. Talk to me about like the value that tattooing has brought to you and like the meaning like that you get to create with whether it's your clients or just like the artwork. Like, what does it mean to you to be able to be a tattoo artist?
I like building stories on arms because it brings me back to my old animation days, creating stories and just formatting. And I like the structure of tattooing. I get to be strict with my art. It's really improved my art too because I've done so much realism now. Um, I'm more disciplined with my art, if that makes sense. But I also really like, bringing back to being a mom too. I can make my own schedule, still be with my kid. I don't have to put her in daycare. I can just kind of have that, which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome that you're able to do that and have a career that can support that a lot better and easier than kind of maybe where you could have gone.
Yeah.
And obviously, it still would have been rewarding if you went that way because you enjoyed it, but the grind differently and
Yeah.
like the structure of it. And it seems like where you are is a really good place from this. How about the connections that you're able to make with like clients? Because like you're spending, depending on how long or how big the tattoos are, like it
Yeah.
could be multiple hours with people. So like, how do you find that aspect of it? Like, were you always kind of like a social person? Because like you kind of have to be
Yeah.
sometimes, depending on the client.
It's funny because in stop motion, I wasn't, because you're literally just alone in a basement with like toys. And now with tattooing, I feel way more part of the world because I talk to veterans. I talk to other mothers. Like we can like, the amount of times I've said my like birth story and I've heard other women's birth story, I'm like, I love that. Like it's just a little like mommy shit. But I also love just hearing everyone's like stories of like why they're getting the tattoo, like for a loved one that's passed, or a breakup, or I'm finding myself. It's kind of like this, like where it's like a therapy session, and I'm like, your secrets are safe with me because I forgot them. Like, but I never forget like them.
Mhm.
But I love making the connection with people, and it's just amazing instead of just being locked in a basement.
Yeah, and I like that you're able to do that, and it's your own version, like you kind of said, of like this in a way, but like,
Yeah.
but you're adding your art piece to it,
Oh, I've
and
thought about where I'm like, oh my God, like if my clients agreed to it, I would like podcast them while we're getting a tattoo because there's some stuff we talk about like like fun conspiracy theories, like we'll talk about aliens. We'll talk about like Egypt and like just like weird shit. And I'm like, oh, this would be a good podcast. Like,
I've thought about doing that with my tattoo artist because
yeah.
I haven't
Oh,
had her
it's
on.
so fun because when you're in pain, you talk about the most crazy things.
Oh, I get into stuff that I never thought I would have talked about. But like
Yeah.
the hard part for me was like, or would be, is because I want to get my tattoo artist in the podcast. We've talked about it multiple times. She's obviously super busy with the stuff that she got going on.
Yeah.
If I did it during the podcast, during like my tattoo session, I don't know how good I would be at being able to interview
Yeah.
her while going through
Well,
all that.
maybe that would be cool to watch though.
Yeah, I just would be afraid of like the sound of the gun, like how loud that would be.
Oh, does she use a rotary or a coil? Like the coil's the like.
It's I'd have to show you. I have like a pitch because I take
Yeah.
videos of it. I don't.
Because the
It makes
rotary
it like
machine
it
I
sound.
have is
It's
quiet.
like you. It's not like super loud, but like I don't like microphones pick up like
Right,
a lot,
everything.
especially if I had something like this, like she's tattooing me, it's gonna be close to the microphone because she's gonna have to be close to it too.
Yeah,
Like
so maybe a rotary can be a little bit like it's just annoying maybe.
it
It's
would
like,
you. I mean, if you're listening to the podcast, you would know I'm getting a tattoo. So like, I mean, probably be aware of it. But like,
yeah,
I thought about it because like I don't want to take away from her story either
yeah,
by having that done. Um, and I don't know how long I'd be able to like do all that like while
yeah.
having that jackhammered into me the entire time. And
Sticking
also,
with
I
questions.
also just enjoy like not doing any of that stuff and just being able to talk to her,
Yeah.
like kind of like have that one-on-one time. Like you said, it's kind of like therapeutic in a sense.
Yeah, see, that's why I was like, "Oh, that would be cool," because 'cause you're kinda just sitting in on this little, like, moment.
Because in your shoes, it could be like easier to do because like the that could help that person kind of get
Yeah.
over the pain because they get to talk to you and like not think about the
I'm
pain.
actually probably so much better, like, asking the person more, like, "What are you doing?" You know, like, interviewing than, like, me getting interviewed. I'm like, "Ooh, spotlight.
Yeah,
Okay."
because that's where it might be easier in your shoes if you ever did something like that. Because like that'd be cool and like
Yeah.
to have that versus me doing it would be. I feel like it would take away from the story that of her life, and I wouldn't want to do
Yeah.
that, and because I've thought about it, and I've thought about it a lot, and it would be a cool ass podcast to be able to do that, but I was just like, I just like I don't want to take away from our experience and what's happening and the vibe of it just to make content for that. Um, but the concept is really cool and interesting to me. Um, we are getting towards like that back half of the podcast. So before I get to the last question, I do have this other question I kind of want to like hit on, but like it's kind of like a I guess you could say kind of like a softball kind of question in the sense of like advice that you'd give to people getting into tattooing. Like what would you kind of tell
Yeah,
them?
do your research on apprenticeships. Make sure you're not a lapdog. Um, when you do, like, bring in a binder of your work from realism, portraits you've done, your style, just any like artwork. Bring in. I when I went for my apprenticeship, I was like, I brought my binder. Here you go, and all my like. They don't want to see you like already tattooing. They want to teach you tattooing. I showed up like a little nerd, and that was A plus. And my because the guy was like, "Where's your iPad?" I'm like, "I don't have one. I needed one." And then later down the road, I got an iPad. But don't like organize yourself first. Find a good apprenticeship. Worry about like that stuff later. The iPad, the machine. You're gonna want like a little crap machine to start with. Your little fake skin. Pound of flesh is great to start with. It's like that nice fake skin. Um, just always do your research, make sure you're comfortable with the person. You don't want your mentor to, like, boss you around too much, I guess. Um, some bullying is healthy. Like, just like a teacher,
Yeah,
but
I think that's good. I think that's honestly great advice. I think a little like even like a little bit of bullying and guidance there,
yeah,
like
like,
that,
you don't wanna be
not
like
over the line, but like I think it
right,
can help
because
in
I 'cause
that.
I've seen also, like, in my time of multiple shops, I've seen apprentices where, like, they're not pushed hard enough,
Mhm.
and it's more laid back and, like, they're scared to tell you, "Hey, do this." And then I tried to apprentice, like, my man, and he was like, "You're really mean." And I'm like, "I need it to be perfect if you're being my little disciple." Like, but
Yeah,
it's that thing where, like, I'm doing this because I want you to do good,
yeah,
you
and I
know?
mean it makes sense for the art too because like it's permanent.
Yeah.
Like you kind of want
Oh, yeah.
the person to like take it seriously and like guide them in a way where you're not too
And you
controlling of
wanna
their art.
tattoo safely.
Yeah,
Like, you don't wanna be on a couch, cloth couch, tattooing somebody. Blood pathogens is so huge. 'Cause there's so many people that tattoo in their houses, and they don't wanna pursue, like, going into a shop. They just wanna stay because it is cheap. You get to keep the full cash, whatever, but you're spreading so many, like, blood diseases like that. So it's like, you always have to make sure you're doing things correctly in tattooing. There's a lot of rules.
yeah, and
And
there's rules
and
for
you
a
have
reason.
to follow yeah, they're there for a reason. Like, there's more getting my license in Massachusetts was harder than Miami, but I was like, "You know what? Good." Like, I'm a person that like, I'm a fan of the gatekeeping of tattooing. Like, there's a reason. You don't wanna be spreading all this shit around. Then all of a sudden, the next COVID whatever. It's from a tattoo artist.
It's like you want the practice to be protected, and
Yeah.
like it should be like
Oh yeah.
not everyone should be a tattoo artist, and like people are getting into it sometimes for the wrong reasons because the money can be there depending on how good of an artist and how well you can retain clients and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Um, yeah, I would agree with you on a lot of that. I think that's like honestly great advice. As we get towards the end, I have that last question about passions for you,
Yeah.
but I always do this for every guest, but is there anything that you wanted to say, not related to that passions question, but maybe we might have missed or something you just felt like you wanted to talk about or bring up before we get to that? You don't have to, but I just always like to offer to the guests in
Yeah.
case.
Well, so at Welling City, I'm like I'll always say like I'm open to booking. You can shoot me an email at juliaharleyart@gmail.com. I'm really open to like a bunch of styles. You can check me out on Instagram at julia.harley. And I'm very open to drawing stuff up.
Okay, cool. I'll have you plug it at the end too.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
was
should,
like, I don't know if
yeah,
that's
no,
good. I do it.
no, I would have done it at the end, but
Yeah.
we'll do it again. You're gonna double plug in
Yeah,
this.
don't plug.
So Julie, I appreciate you for coming on the podcast. Last question for you:
Yeah.
what would your advice be for someone who wants to pursue their passion?
Stick with your guns, and I don't care about what anyone else says. You have your own path to create, and people never know the path that you're going to be on. Like, they're never going to walk in your shoes, and you're going to get there no matter what. So,
Perfect, and I would 100% co-sign that.
yeah.
Like, you never know
I
what
mean, you
someone's
got to
going
keep
through.
pushing. Like, if you draw a shitty portrait, draw it 5 more times. Keep looking, like, and my thing too with drawing, and it's always going to come back to me with like drawing, art, animation, whatever. When you're drawing, look at the paper less. That's my biggest thing, especially for realism. Get out of your head.
I mean, yeah, I think that'd be. I'm not a
Yeah.
drawer, but I think that it sounds like it'd be good advice. Like trying to not overly critique what you're doing too.
Yeah,
'Cause,
like if I was drawing you right now, the paper right here, I'd be looking at you more than the paper, like, because I'm measuring with
Mhm.
my eyeballs. Like,
I mean, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. I mean, I had one of my friends on the podcast, Mason, recently. He's going back to he's the second time on the podcast this year, but it's going back to the Azores in January, and like he talks about that, just like looking at the thing, drawing it, looking at the thing, drawing it, looking at the thing, drawing
Yeah.
it, and like visualizing it and seeing it, and like really kind of being there. And I definitely have a huge respect for like the craft and like being an artist, and it's definitely something I wish I was more talented at. I just never had the skills. I
Yeah.
just didn't click for me. I don't have those genes. Maybe maybe my kids will eventually have that, but I
Yeah.
don't. But I have stuff that works for me in different ways, and like figuring out how to be creative in a different aspect. And you could be an artist in many different ways. And I think in the stuff that you do, I think you're really good at it. And
Thanks.
I've really enjoyed like listening to you kind of walk me through like your life story here and
Yeah.
being vulnerable with stuff. I
Oh,
do
I
really
think my life
appreciate
story,
that.
I'm like, you know what? Don't be afraid to pivot in life. It's never too late.
Yeah. It's never too late. And I think it doesn't matter if you have a degree in something or not,
Yeah.
or if you have a degree and you want to do
Most
something
people that
different.
get their college degrees, they're not doing what they studied.
Mhm.
It's like everybody's story.
Just being willing to
Pivot,
go.
baby.
Yeah, pivot. Yeah,
Make
pivot.
it work.
I think it's a good way to kind of tie the bow on this podcast.
Yeah.
But Julie, I really appreciate you coming on this podcast and sharing with me. And again, if you want to look into this camera and plug where people can find you.
So if you want to book with me at Willing City Tattoo in New Bedford, you can shoot me an email at juliaharleyart@gmail.com and check out my artwork on my Instagram at julia.harley.
Perfect. Again, thank you for coming on the
Thank you.
podcast.
This was awesome.
For you guys like the podcast, please rate, review, subscribe, share it with your friends, share it with the family, share it with your grandma. Check it out, thecarrollconnection.simplecast.com. Also available Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the major listening platforms. If you'd like to watch our podcast, go on YouTube and search Jared M. Carroll or at the Carroll Connection to pop up. If you want to be a guest or return as a guest, hit me up on Instagram at Jared M. Carroll or at the Carroll Connection. We'll set that up. As well as plugging the 5 Pillars to Create a Meaningful Life, only available on Amazon. If you get the book and you read it and you really like it, submit the review on Amazon. It goes a long way in the algorithm. So, till next time, guys, peace.